Hi again, everyone. Scott Pyre, Popcorn fan here, and in this video, what I want to do actually is I want to do a spoiler review for the Elvis movie because I've had more time to think about the movie now, and even though I did do a review already with my buddy Sean over on his channel, I just want to give a more in-depth review for the movie because it's an amazing movie. Granted, it's really long, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Um, but yeah, so let's go ahead and give my thoughts. So, this movie, I think it's definitely one of the better biopics I've seen in recent years. Which, for those of you that are aware of the genre, you have movies like the Bohemian Rhapsody movie that was based on Queen, and not just movies about music artists, but movies about real people from real life. Like, for example, there was a Lincoln movie about Abraham Lincoln that came out in like 2012 or something. So there's been a lot of biopics. It's quite the genre. But yeah, easily. This movie, Elvis, I do think it's one of the better biopics in recent years. And I think the actor, Austin Butler, who portrayed the Elvis in this movie, you know how there's a lot of Elvis impersonations out there. Like, there's a lot of Elvis impersonations. And he didn't feel like an impersonation. He felt like the actual Elvis, which he just, devolved into the Elvis as a person. That's how I viewed it when I saw Austin Butler's performance as the character. I thought he was amazing. I felt like I was watching the real Elvis. It didn't feel like an impersonation or anything like that. It felt like I was watching the real Elvis. And Austin Butler, I know him as an actor because the only other thing I've seen Austin Butler in before this movie was The Carrie Diaries, which is a prequel TV show to Sex and the City, which also starred Anna Sophia Robb. But aside from that, I think also Tom Hanks as his character, the manager. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was Elvis's manager in the movie, and he was essentially the villain of the story too, which is interesting because the movie was told from his perspective, and so it was him narrating the whole story. Like, the manager was narrating the whole story from his perspective, and he was the villain essentially, and it was sad, seeing Elvis's story play out. And I'm not sure how much of this movie is accurate. I'm assuming it was very accurate, but it was, yeah. Oh wow, everything that Elvis went through in his personal life, it really affected him emotionally, and when he died so young. He was only 42 when he passed away, and it was really sad. And he gave it his all. He loved his fans. He gave it his all. And in his performances, every time he did a concert, he gave it his all. He poured all of his soul and all of his energy into his performances, and that is partly what caused him to, him passing away. I think that part of what caused him to pass away was how much energy he put into performing his songs for everyone, and he loved his fans. And it was just so sad. And throughout the film, his wife left him. He started doing drugs. He started smoking, and it was just really tragic what Elvis was going through personally in his life. Then also you have his manager, Tom Hanks' character, who was scamming him behind his back, essentially, like laundering money overseas and things like that. And it's, wow. So much was going on in Elvis's life, as a singer and as a person, and also like the fact that he was one of the first white Americans to sing blues music, which, is the kind of music that mostly African American people sang at the time. And because of that, there were a lot of political issues addressed in this movie that were relevant then and are still relevant now. There were a lot of political issues that were addressed in the theming in the story, and I thought that was rather fascinating. I don't think that's a flaw about the movie. Sean thought it was, but I don't. I thought what they did with all of that was really well done. The movie had amazing writing, amazing acting, amazing cinematography, amazing music, and like I said in my review on Sean's channel, I do still have a few flaws with it. Like I said, when the movie goes through time, there's a lot of montage sequences playing out scenes of Elvis's life, and there's just a lot of weird editing choices there with all these montage sequences. And the passage of time going by, like from the late 1960s to the early 1970s. Just all the montage sequences as the time went on. There was just a lot of choppy editing there. That was just like my one little flaw with the movie. And also the fact that it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long can make it feel like never ending in a sense. And that's just because the movie is telling Elvis's life, like from beginning to end, his entire career. And even the beginning of the movie, we saw flashbacks to Elvis as a kid and what inspired him with his music, and how he did his music was inspired by African American blues music. And I thought that was rather fascinating. It's definitely a movie that can have a little bit of everything for everyone, but maybe not have kids see it, because there are still a lot of things about the movie that I don't think kids should see. Even though there's not violence in the movie or anything, but it touches upon a lot of mature themes and political themes, and it was just rather fascinating. And this is definitely a movie that I've grown to really appreciate now that I've thought about it more. And I love it. I probably give this movie an A, actually. I think when I did my review with Sean, I gave it an A-, but the more I think about it, I definitely give this movie an A. An amazing movie, nonetheless. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the movie. Just wanted to give a more in-depth spoiler review of the movie. So, for those of you who have not seen the movie yet, don't watch this video. But, yeah, it was an amazing movie, and it was just so fascinating seeing Elvis's life being played out. And I love a lot of his songs. Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock. And, wow. Great artist. He definitely lived quite the life, even though it was really tragic. But his legacy lived on, and a lot of his music is always going to be listened to for years. And it was something special what Elvis did, inspiring generations of fans and generations of other artists as well. It was amazing. It was definitely quite the ride. So yeah, that's my review for Elvis. Thank you guys so much for watching. My next video will most likely be for She-Hulk, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.